Right, so it's been about a week and a half since the last video where you saw us get the engine back together and try and start it for the first time. Unfortunately, that didn't go so well. We were able to get the car to fire a few times, but it would always fire sort of idle for maybe half a second, and then die off. So to me that says the car's running okay, maybe. And like everything seems to be alright. It's obviously got spark, it's got fuel. I wasn't spraying easy start or anything into it. It's got compression. Yeah, we checked for the compression, that was all okay. But now we need to figure out why it's not idle and why it won't run. And if I put any throttle into it, it just dies, except I just have to put the tiniest throttle and then it can sort of keep it going. It tells me either the fuel mixture's not good or there's a vacuum leak. The engine just doesn't know really what's going on with the fueling. As I said in the last video, the vacuum lines have always been a mystery with this car. When I first got it, there was an aftermarket blow-off valve on it and half the vacuum lines were just plugged off, loads of it was missing and everything, so I never really knew what it should have been. I think that's why the car never ran quite right and it always was over fueling and caused the last engine to go. So I think, so I did a lot of work. There's a reason I haven't been working on this for the past week or two. It's because I was trying to find some sort of confirmation of how the vacuum lines are supposed to be readed. I tried searching forums, I'd been through so many different pages on Google. The only thing I thought could work is if I could get the Japanese dealership, like the exploded diagrams they have for all the different parts. You need to pick different groups of parts that has an exploded diagram of how it all goes together. I thought that was the only way. I'd called my Daihatsu dealer and asked them, do they have the workshop manuals? Do they have the diagrams for these cars? And the answer was basically no. They can email Japan and ask for certain parts, but they can't just get any old diagram. Although I don't even think they can get parts for this. Basically, apparently their system only has the European delivered Daihatsus in it. So not this, because it's Japanese only. There was no turbo ones were sort of, no turbo 3 cylinders were officially imported into the UK. A few of the 4-cylinder ones were, but those are totally different to these. So I managed to find a copy of the electronic parts catalogue online, and it was like from 2008. You had to run it on a Windows 98 virtual machine, and that was the only way to actually get the software running. Wouldn't run on anything past MS-DOS, which is just ridiculous. The fact they were actually using that in 2008 is a bit mad even. So I managed to finally get it working. It took me days and days of searching, but I got all the diagrams for this engine and this car, in fact. So now I'm going to pull the intercooler and the intake system all off to reroute all the vacuum lines. The way I had guessed it to be is totally wrong. So I need to go through and redo all that. So let's get to it. Yeah, like just for example, this is one of the original vacuum lines. And I just realised it's actually been blocked off with a pencil. Like, it's just fucked. So, got my phone, and that's the diagram I have. So it looks like it originally had a 2-port blow-off valve. When I first got the car, it had a single port, but now we've got the twin port back on it. So we've got one line here with a check valve in it. It looks like that goes to the top of the blow-off valve here. And then another line without the check valve that goes on the bottom side of the blow-off valve. So we stick that one on there, this one on the top, which is fine. We've got part 197 here, and But it looks like that comes... where's it? Part 129. So I've got this sensor, well, this actuator here, because it's 12 volt. It's got 2 ports, so it's generally to let vacuum through. It could be for the electric power steering or something to just help idle up the car, even maybe as a cold start thing. And it looks like it's originally coming from the turbo here. Looks like it's maybe part 129. What's weird is it looks like it goes to the intercooler. Just strange, if that's what I'm looking at. Luckily I've got a backup, so we're looking for parts. So we'll see what the part 197 is on the list. 197 is, yeah, vacuum switching solenoid. So that's the vacuum solenoid. God, it's hard to see there. It's at 84. It's 84. Not 94. Not sure. It's hard to say. It's not totally accurate. See, I'm looking at this like ridged thing. I just don't know. Is that supposed to represent the intercooler? Yeah. That was literally a pencil someone had shoved in there. Fuck me. Yeah. I know I was just doing it with the drill bit in the last video, but like, come on. That was only temporary. The more I'm thinking about it, I think that bit with all the lines might actually be the airbox. I don't know, that's the only thing I can think of. I guess it would make sense if that's a boost solenoid, you know, it's coming off the turbo. If that just lets it to the atmosphere, it'll regulate the boost pressure. Which makes sense. Yeah, so I think with the current setup, I think that originally went back into, there were some vacuum lines attached to this, I think. I think it originally went back into there, which feeds just back into basically the airbox. This pipe here. You can't really see that, but this pipe that just goes into the airbox. I think it all fed into that. So I think we can just let that vent to atmosphere. All it does is just bleed off a bit of the air here to control the boost level. The actual boost solenoids, sorry, the pressure sensor is over here, so that's fine. Yeah, so I think all that was really needed was swapping those around. Seems too easy. I'll get all this back together and we'll try it out. Whew.